It's the hottest dish in the streets. It's what everyone's talking about on Facebook.
Twitters and Facebooks and all that stuff.
It's what everyone's tweeting about.
Twitter stalking, Facebook groupie.
It's time for Big Tigger's Trending Topics.
Yeah, that's trending time.
Find out what's trending now with Big Tigger.
Oh, he did not tell me for that.
On V103.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, time for the Trending Topics. 411 and all your favorite folks. A lot going on in this one, so let me get to it. Cuba Gooding Jr. You know he's O.J. Simpson, right? On this new TV series. He says playing O.J. Simpson left him a little mentally broken. It's American Crime Story, The People vs. O.J. Simpson. The show dramatizes the events surrounding the murder of Simpson's ex-wife, Nicole Brown Simpson, and the sensational trial that followed. Gooding said he spent a month preparing for the role and has definitely had an effect on him. He also sat down on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen last night and lightweight outed Tom Cruise for having plastic surgery. He said, I don't know what he's had done, but I surprised him at his house one day and he had all these little red dots on his face. And I said, you all right? And he said, I didn't know you were coming. And I was like, I can see why. Wow, Cuba. I don't know, man. And none of my business. Let them do what they do. You've all probably heard the story. If you follow hip-hop and you follow the Tupac Biggie stories and murders, you've probably heard this story before. A retired L.A. cop is convinced he cracked the case of Tupac Shakur's decades-old murder, and the mastermind behind this was none other than Sean Diddy Combs. The music mogul allegedly offered Crips member Dwayne Keefe $1 million to whack Shakur and his manager Suge Knight. And this is what former LAPD detective Greg Kading alleges in a new documentary based on his 2011 book, Murder Rap. We all know the shooting took place in Las Vegas in '96 and remains officially unsolved. Back then, when the story first came out, Puff scoffed the theory when it first surfaced in the book. Quote, the story is pure fiction and completely ridiculous. But Kading, who led an LAPD task force investigating the shooting deaths of Shakur and Biggie Smalls, wrangled the confession out of someone after the Crips member feared facing charges for a different crime. His personal copy is heard in a Netflix documentary, which is coming out really soon, called Murder Rap. It's due to stream on Netflix in June. He offers this perspective. He says, quote, Diddy was in a precarious situation where Suge Knight was actively hunting him down. Suge held him responsible for the death of a friend of Atlanta. So there was this tense desperation that Combs was working from. There was a very clear and present danger. He was not calculating. He's not a calculating, sinister assassin, but a person trying to protect himself from something he knew coming. He said after Shakur's death, Knight shelled out $13,000 to have Diddy murdered. This is explosive. But this was also a similar story published in 2008 in the LA Times. The paper had to retract the story and apologize, printed a major retraction saying the Times has since concluded that the FBI reports were fabricated and that some of the sources relied on, including a confidential source cited in the FBI reports, do not support major elements of the story. Diddy is denied involvement in both shootings and murders. I don't know. I just think that 20 years later, we still don't have any answers, and that's very sad. And last but not least, equally as sad, if you haven't heard already, Earth, Wind & Fire founder Maurice White is dead at the age of 74. Apparently, he had been struggling against Parkinson's disease. He formed the band with two friends in Chicago in 1969. They recorded more than 20 albums and had several top 10 hits, including September, Shining Star, and more. His brother and bandmate Verdine White said on the band's Facebook page that Maurice passed away peacefully in his sleep. He said the world has lost another great musician and legend. Maurice, in a 2007 interview, said all he wanted to be remembered for was his music. So we will keep him and the family in our prayers and always rock out to Earth, Wind, and Fire. That's going to do it for the Trending Topics. More Big Tigger Show next on V103.